All right, good afternoon, good evening, or morning, depending on when you're watching this. If you're watching this right now, it's 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My name is Jader. I am the founder of Black Label Closers, an organization dedicated to help people become highly effective in the art of high ticket sales. So today we're going to talk about really, um, like every time that I have these live trainings, I'm going to talk about something that's really important in the art of high ticket sales. All right. So we're going to get ready right here. Please subscribe, make comments, ask questions. If you if you have experience, you disagree with something, just let me know, right? Let me know what's your approach, what you think about the strategy, and I can talk about that. I can make a video to why, the reasons why I believe that to me this, whatever it is that you're arguing against, why what I the strategies that I've been using for the past 20 some years have worked in every single scenario and with all the teams that I've helped and trained. Right. So feel free. I'm not going to take offense. Just be respectful. That's all. We got to be respectful. You might see the thing is, I'm first. Not one single great closer can close everybody. That's just you can't. No one closes 100% of everybody. It just doesn't work. That doesn't happen, right? Some people that I can't close, another person might be able to close, right? That has a lot to do with the click in personalities. But we're going to talk about how always maintain enough distance to create respect, but close enough to create trust and what we call rapport in this industry, right? So we're gonna jump into this right now, and we're gonna talk about this right now. All right. So if you guys notice the title of today's live is mirroring personalities. Sorry, it's misspelled. Personality. I should have put the S at the end. Personality is good in a sales process and how excited you have to sound, right? So we're going to talk about that, all right? And the first thing that I wanted to bring to your attention is who's in control when one party emulates the other. All right. So this is probably going to be one of those things that somebody's going to have something against it. Maybe not the most popular concept, but if you know a little bit about me and the way my style and how I've been successful in this industry and help teams in different companies accomplish and achieve their goals, is by being the difference, by becoming the difference, not doing what every single person is doing out there, being trained by the same people who go through a conveyor belt where you invest into a training system and they're just going to put you through the squeezer, right? Just get you to learn some concepts, ABC, and then boom, you're out, right? They might get you a job, I don't know, right, or help you get a job. So I don't have the same perception. I don't do the same. A couple of people just joined. Um, Rose and Yowie, welcome on board. Glad to have you here for sure. So what we need to understand is that in my personal process in the way that I teach others and in the way that I go through the process when I have a prospect in front of me on the phone on a video is um, I don't you're not gonna find me I keep my personality where it needs to be. I'm not gonna alter how I am, the way I speak, and how I convey thoughts if I do this, if I have someone, and this is what a lot of trainers talk about, and kudos if you're applying this and it works for you, great. I'm not gonna demean that. However, I noticed that being the difference and acting, especially when you have a prospect that's been shopping around and has had conversations about the same product or service with other companies, they're going to notice that you are going to say the same thing as everybody else is saying, right? Um, so, how I made the difference here is I will never ever mirror who you are. If you're my prospect, I don't care if you sound extremely educated. I don't care if you sound relaxed. I don't care if you are a truck driver, an attorney, a surgeon, a nurse, a security guard, a taxi driver. I am going to always be the type of person that I am with every single person. Now, I'm not, obviously, what I'm saying is not that you can't take into consideration the person's background. Trust me, I take into consideration in a very, very serious way who I'm talking about. Am I talking to someone who's mildly educated or someone who's extremely educated? Someone who's more educated on the streets? Someone who's more street smart, right? Um, I tend to be a lot more professional in the way that I make my presentation, my pitch, and the way that I talk to people. I want to make sure that we have that cordial uh, process and relationship while we're on the phone. I want to make sure that they respect me. I want to make sure that they see me as a point of guidance and not someone who is next from their next door. I is not necessarily that I want to be elitist in the way that I present myself. It's not that I want to make an impression of someone who's above them. Which, by the way, I'm not in the sense when I say above them. I'm not talking about in the sense as in value as a human being, right? We all have the same value. We all have what I when I intercept a prospect, when I call a prospect, automatically I'm giving him a call. Even if he requested for the call, I'm the one who's initiating that call, and I'm the one who's coming perceptively to sell something, right? I'm the one who's coming perceptively as the one party out of the two people there who wants something. If you go in that process with the perception that you're the only one who wants something, you are already at a disadvantage. You are already selling yourself short, and you're probably going to maintain that mindset in that mind frame throughout the entire conversation, and you are going to be the one who's going to be at a disadvantage, always trying to catch him, always trying to kind of catch the bus, right? He's the driver of the bus, and he's not letting you on the bus until you earn it. And that is the worst type of sales pitch that any person, any respectable salesperson, and by the way, again, I want to repeat this one more time. I don't train people to become salespeople. I train people on how to become closers. There's a huge difference between the two. Most salespeople out there, that's what they are. They're salespeople. Effective to a certain degree, but they don't make the difference. Closers are the ones that are making the difference, right? Now, I'm not talking about people that close just because they um, whack the crap out of follow-ups. This is what I believe. I believe that if you are a someone who follows up without the industry having a requirement for follow-ups, let me explain what I'm saying. Is that there are certain industries that where you can't make the sale until you follow up for whatever reasons, licenses, approvals, government, city codes, um, a whole bunch of things that you are that your prospect probably has to get first before you sell them the product or service that you have. I'm not talking about those type of follow-ups. I'm talking about the follow-up that you're supposed to close on the call that you're closing on the deal in the phone call that you are attempting to close. You can't close, so you start following up and calling and calling and calling. They tell you they're going to meet you at whatever time. They don't show up, so you keep calling and calling till the end, where they're just going to pick up the phone and tell you, "Listen, I'm not interested. Please don't give me a call back." Right now, this is how companies kind of want you to be structured and go after every single person, because they don't care. They don't care if you're the one chasing deals that won't happen, because if you are not a good and effective closer, then you make up in follow-ups what you lack in skill. So this is the reason why you have to be skillful and learn how to close deals when you have them in front of you. The be back bus never comes back. All right, that's a weird saying. Back in the day, we used to say that all the time. So, but let's get back. I digressed. I'm sorry for that. But who is in control when one party emulates the other? So, emulation or emulating someone basically is, if they sound like they're ghetto people, I'm going to sound ghetto. If they sound like they're educated people, I'm going to sound educated. I want to make sure that they feel like they can identify with me. No, I don't want them to identify with me. I don't want them to feel that we're pals. I want them to feel that they have to respect me and that I become a point of contact to them. I want to be close enough to create rapport, but I want to have that distance, that buffer zone that screams respect, right? By itself. I don't have to ask it. I don't have to. I don't have to petition for it. I don't have to do any of those things. I want to make sure that the person that I have in front of me, who's going to give me $20,000 or $30,000 or $10,000, heck, for that matter, $5,000, I want to make sure that they have respect for me. So I want to make sure that they hear someone, especially if you're selling an investing opportunity, services like that, right? People want to hear someone who's responsible, someone who knows the part. Do I want to go to the doctors if I have uh, I don't know, some disease that can turn into something dangerous and can take my life? Do I want to go to a doctor's office and sit there with them and have a friendship with them? I would much rather, um, I much rather have a conversation with a doctor who's going to save my life and who sounds confident enough for me to put my life in their hands. That's what I want. I don't want someone who's going to be there, being pals with me, but don't know what the heck they're talking about, right? Do not waste time mirroring people. Go to the point. Don't, um, the one person that emulates the other is the weaker out of the two. In fact, I noticed that when I have someone in front of me and we're going through a sales process, they end up trying to emulate me. They're trying to mirror me. And that's what I want. That's when I know. For instance, sometimes I get people when I give them a call and they answer the call with something quirky or something that you don't expect. A lot of people out there, they answer their phone like, what's up? Hey, what's up? Right? So when I know that someone important is calling me, I'm not going to say, hey, what's up? I'm gonna be very respectful. I'm gonna be cordial, professional, but they don't know who they're about to talk, right? So when I about to talk to, so when I give them a call, what's up, whatever, and then they hear me talk, I'm gonna come in and be professional. I'm gonna use my professional voice. I'm gonna use my professional pace. I'm going to use my professional sequence and punchlines, right? I want to make sure my tonality and my voice is going to sound professional. You want to deal, and I understand that nowadays, um, people are very lax in the way they talk to each other, right? Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? Uh, yeah, brother. Don't let me just say this. If you're giving me a call and you want to sell me something, a service that I'm interested in, and you give me a call and you call me brother, and you call me dude, and it's not gonna fly. It's not gonna fly. And I know there are a lot of young people have, you know, you got these toddlers, these millionaire toddlers. But let's face it, the people most likely that you're going to be talking to are not millionaires in the age of, in their early 20s, right? You're going to have some of them, but most likely you're not going to find a lot of them in your day to day lead flow. Most likely, the people that are interested in whatever it is that you're selling, whatever service, whether it's in the stock market, real estate, crypto, or crypto, you're going to probably deal with a lot of young people. But at the same time, and probably this is true for crypto as well. At the same time, you're going to find that the people with purchasing power are more mature, maybe late 30s, early 40s, late 40s, early 50s, late 50s. And that generation do not like to be disrespected. Let me tell you, that's the reason why. That's when you are careful about the the person you're talking to, and this is the reason why you can't just call someone and assume that person is fine with you calling them dudes and or dude or brother or all the things, pal, stuff like that. Stay away from that. If he's the one initiating that kind of contact, don't do it either. All right. So if I call someone and I'm selling a $20,000 ticket and I hear the guy call me dude and brother and all that stuff, I'm going to refrain from that language. And I'm going to tell you this, and this I've done it because I've done this for so long. I've dealt with every personality at least 1,000 times in my life. And so when someone starts a conversation like that and they push that conversation, at some point, given the fact that I'm not reciprocating that type of conversation, they're going to start lining up with the professional tonality of the conversation. Now, I don't want to be boring. I don't want to be monotonous because the things and how I'm going to deal with the conversation is going to be so interesting that he's going to forget about. He's not going to be bored or tired of talking to me, right? So if you are, as a salesperson, nearing your prospect, you are the weaker link in that conversation. You're not the dominating factor. Make sure they're the ones emulating who you are, what you bring to the table, your language, the way you talk, and they give you enough time for you to express yourself, and then you give them enough time so you can hear and grab every bullet that you get from them. All right. So very important. Don't buy into this. Let's imitate your customer. No, I don't want to do that. Don't lose yourself in the midst of having a conversation with someone who does not represent who you are. Stay true to your personality, right? Now, if your personality is a lot like the character I just explained, where you like to call your customers dude and brother, if you're doing well, keep doing it. But I'd say change it as soon as possible because most likely you're going to be able to make a difference if you stop doing that and behave more professionally in that sales call. All right. The second point that I want to make here is, how does excitement play in a sales call? I was tempted to talk about this in the first point, and I know all these four bullet points that I'm going to talk about will kind of intertwine as far as a concept because one leads to another. So when I say I was talking about not mirroring a customer, another thing that I want to just mention, and this is the reason why I have it here, is How does excitement play in a sales call? Control your excitement. I mean, especially, I noticed that a lot of uh, marketers or closers or setters. I know setting is kind of a sensitive subject right now because a lot of AI is doing the setting nowadays. So closers and setters as well. When you're opening up that call, you want to make sure that when you call that person, oh, let me take back the original thought that I had. I noticed that a lot of closers and setters, if they're hurting for that week, if they're having a hard time for that week where they're not closing people, what they do a lot is they get excited when, say, for instance, they have been dialing the phone and no one picks up the phone. And then finally, someone picks up the phone, and it's like almost like they're so excited about having someone picking up the phone that they don't hide it. Hey, how are you? And then they get really excited. You can hear almost them saying, I'm so glad you answered because I haven't had anybody picking up the phone. Don't play out your excitement like that. Here's what I always tell people: when you are the most desperate, be the most confident. Do not, if you keep the confidence level up, you're going to make less mistakes. And if you're running low on sales for that week, maybe even the month, right? Then understand what's going on, what's taken place in the past or prior um, that week or for that month. I hope you're not blanking for 4 weeks in a row because if that's the case, something's wrong. I don't know with you, right? If you have leads. Now, sometimes you really have to understand what a lead is, right? Some people think that just records of names and phone numbers are leads. Those are not leads. They're just records, right? But if everybody else is making money and you're not making money, say for 1 week, maybe a week and a half, and you're having a hard time, do not sell out to excitement. Don't give them a call and make them feel like they're on top of the world, and you're gonna help them, you know, uh, have their wildest dreams come true. That's not how you're gonna be able to make a difference and flip the script for that week, right? So continue your excitement, keep your professional tonality. This is the reason why the first point I wanted to mention the excitement factor, but I couldn't because I knew the second point was going to be about being excited. So control the excitement. Don't be boring. That's not what I'm saying. Be professional. Professional people are not boring at all. Professional people are very interesting to hear. Listen to people who are professional. Now, your personality might be aggressive. All right. Your personality might be a nice personality. If you're too aggressive, bring it down a little bit. If you're way too nice, bring your aggressiveness a little bit up or higher. Right. You need to find the balance where too much aggression is against counterproductive to you, and too much peaceful behavior in not confrontational behavior sometimes is good. Not to be confrontational, but to be challenging, right? You want to challenge people. You do really want to challenge people because that shows character, personality, and someone who knows what they're talking about. The third point I wanted to mention here, which is the third bullet point, is right there on the title, right underneath the title, is your rapport good enough to make friends? One of my favorite subjects and favorite things to teach people. So let me just get comfortable here. Talk about this. So here's the thing. Let's establish one important concept. Friends only buy from friends to help them out. And if a friend doesn't care for helping out his friend at a certain point, um, I'll give you an example. Um, I've had plenty of friends, Um, now, I remember this back when I was living with my parents when I was a kid. Um, and let me just take that back. I'm not me having friends, but like those type of friends. My parents had those friends that sold um, the pots and pans, the sets, right? The one of the most common was Royal Prestige, and we had those friends that were kind of downsized from the job, and they started to sell something, so they would sell that, the set, and it was pretty expensive, and they always try to pitch it like our friends try. My mom never bought one set, never bought the set. It's way too expensive. It was. They always came to the house. They wanted to show you and cook for you and all that stuff. And my mom was just doing it out of friendship. She just wanted to, cool, yeah, you can do your presentation. Come to the house. That's fine. And at the end of the day, she would never buy it. So my point here is, friends only buy from friends as a favor. So that means that if your product is not too expensive, I might, if you have something for $50, maybe $100, I'll buy it from you if I don't need it, right? And I'm not going to hold back from, telling you how crappy your product is, because you're my friend, right? You should be able to understand that. So what am I trying to say here? Do not become anybody's friend. You're not there to make friends, right? That doesn't mean you don't care for your prospect. That's not the problem when you become friends, or that's not a requirement to care about people as being their friend. You can be a good human being, care about people, be ethical, and always keep the respect that you need between the prospect and you. So becoming somebody's friend is the fastest way for you to lose that sale. All right. How do you become someone's friend? And this is also the same example I'm going to give you. Also, can help you become somebody's enemy at the same time. Stay away from small talk. So if you guys talk about who won the football game the night before, let's say it's the Cowboys and you know let's talk about baseball. Red Sox and the Yankees, right? And let's say that you love the Red Sox, and then you talk about the first thing you want to mingle a little bit, and you want to build that rapport, and then you start talking about the game, and the guy likes the Red Sox, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, you're a fan. Yes, I'm a fan. You guys just start talking about you're from Boston, Massachusetts, whatever, and you love the game. You love how they play, the players, and you start talking about all these things. First, you're going to waste way too much time. That's number one. Number two, um, you you guys are going to be so close. You're probably going to drop some jokes, maybe tease each other a little bit, and this is going to be counterproductive to your process. And at the end of the day, to be able to jump from that, to be able to organize thoughts and get into the sales pitch is going to be really hard. And once you do that, this guy said, all right, man, just explain to me what you got. And then you can explain to him and say, oh, that's great, man. No, but you know what? How much is it? And you're probably not ready to tell him how much it is because you have no control of that conversation. All right. At the end of the day, you might make the sale, but not because you are friends. You made the sale probably because the guy just made a decision from uh, prior to the conversation that he had with you. He already made a decision to purchase whatever it is that he's going to purchase. But I guarantee you that if he could have been formally pitched, or she, that would have been a better situation for you to be able to close that deal instead of talking to people like you're their friend, because if they're not all the way there, and plus you can understand, they're going to start telling you a lot of the excuses they're going to come up with, and you're their friend. So you probably have some emotions invested into the conversation, and you probably will end up understanding why he can't invest the $20,000 that he needs to invest to be able to make more money. Don't become people's friends. Again, close enough for you to build rapport, but far enough for you to maintain that respect. Same thing with politics. So here's the flip side to that. That's how you become friends. But let's say that you guys are talking about some political figure who's controversial, and you drop the name, and the guy hates that person, and then you don't like what that person said. You're going to have to contain yourself because you're the one representing the company that you're calling on behalf. But the guy is not going to hold himself, and he's going to probably, and you guys are going to go at it. You probably on this side not being able to say much because you're constrained, but the person probably offending you, and you having to take. It's just an ugly business. Politics, religion, games, teams, weather. Weather is another topic that you got to be careful because it gets mixed with politics. You want to stay away from. Don't get too much into small talk unless you have a plan for that small talk. So, like for instance, if I'm talking to someone and I know that I'm going to need their spouse to be there to make a decision, and I get them on the phone the first time, and I'm like, "Hey, so tell me a little bit about what you do for a living." And they tell me, I'm like, "Okay, you married? Are you currently married?" "Yeah, I'm married." So now I know from that small talk that was not small talk for me. I had a mission on that small talk. All right, very important for you guys to understand that. We're running out of time. The last one, last but not least, I'm going to go through this one as concise as I can with the time that I have. What is posturing without rapport and vice versa? So let's establish what posture is. Posture is the professionalism, the behavior that brings the approach that brings that professional behavior where you become the point of reference. But you're only going to become the point of reference if you build rapport at the same time. So you have to build the posture first. That's the first one that's going to come up, right? But once you have enough posture, then you have to build that rapport. Show the person you care. Show the person that you're here to help them fix their problems and that you're looking out for their best interest. That's the type of rapport, not the rapport where you guys like each other and you guys can hang out and have a beer together. That's not the rapport that you're looking for. You're looking for the type of rapport where you become a protector and a guide, right? That's the type of rapport that you're supposed to build with these people, right? Posture without rapport is simply being rude. Rapport without posture is becoming somebody's friend. You have to have the two to be able to create that balance. If you're not creating that balance, you're not being effective in the way you're closing. This is the reason why you're going to make up in follow-ups what you lack in skill. Someone with enough respect, if they believe who you are, if they believe in your precision and how you explain the things you explain, the concepts that you want to convey, they're very important for you, for the prospect to believe in who you are in the company you represent, and the principal of that company. If it's a coach, it's a mentor, you want to make sure that you always maintain that level of confidence, because that level of confidence, where you combine rapport and posture, that's going to create enough momentum for you to call the shots and help and guide people to the close. Especially if you really believe, and I hope you are, working for a company that's ethical, delivering, and fulfilling what you're asking people to invest in, and that's going to be key factor. All right, guys, thank you for watching this, paying attention, write things down, make comments, subscribe, hit like if you like this. Tell me what you don't agree with. We can have a conversation. If you have any questions, I can answer some questions. So I am the founder. My name is Jader. I'm the founder of Black Label Closers, an organization dedicated to help people become exceptional closers in high ticket sales. You can go to www.highticket-closers.com. You can come here and join us every Tuesday and Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Black Label Closers, and get a ton of value. And we can start the conversation, guys. I will see you next Tuesday. All right. I'll see you next Tuesday, and we can take it from there, guys. Thank you very much for coming. I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye bye.